time is nigh. Open up your eyes to see the signs of the times. Got to be wise to all of their lives. Look to the skies from where my help comes. Wake up, got to wake up from the slumber. Don't let them pull you under. Rise up off the water. Never let them wrestle you into the mud.
I do it all the time. Sorry. Greetings in the name of his and her Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Empress Rosier Menin. Y'all already know, man. One perfect balance. Yes. Welcome to Politically Incorrect, where we get it correct. And if we're not correct, feel free to correct us. I was here trying to see if I could sneak a bite before the camera came on, right? And I got caught. So, yeah. But it's good. The thing is that today is Friday again. Can't believe it. I mean, it's like these days just go by so quickly now. Before you know it, as you look around, it's Friday again. But in a way, that's good because it tells us that time is ticking. And on the other side, it tells us that, well, we have one day less to accomplish what we came here to do. And speaking of accomplishments, whether you are a Christian, Muslim, Jew, Gentile, or whatever, you know, when we leave the celestial realm and we come on this physical plane, what we got to realize that, you know, we all came here with a purpose and we all came here with a mission. And life is such that objectively we are to fulfill such purpose. And for some, it may vary. Well, I guess it varies for all. But in terms of the level of influence or the level of inputs in terms of life, I think that everyone comes here with a mission. But I think that there's some of us who come and leave an impact that spans throughout the corridors of time. And tonight we're going to have a conversation with a young lady who is no stranger, first of all, to this platform. She's been on here on more than one occasion. And tonight she joined us again. And just for the sake of having a conversation, I think we're going to dive into it tonight. A bit different, a bit more personal, because the question really is, who is Tyra Trotman? She's been in the media. She's no stranger to the media. In fact, according to a good source, she was born for this. So we're gonna put that to the test tonight and see, because, you know, Politically Incorrect is a platform where it's your time, it's your opportunity to speak your truth accordingly. So everyone's allowed to speak such. So give me a second. There's two things I want to do first. House, you know, some little house rules. One specifically is, well, let me first start by saying this first of all. For those who observe today as their sacred day, their holy day, I say Shabbat Shalom to my brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum. You know, peace to the Islam, to the Moorish community. Ashe, Hotep to the conscious folks. You already know, you know, Namaste to the brothers out in the east, sisters out in the east. Rastafari, Kidamari to the brethren and the sistren. And to everyone else, you know, just love and pure light. Love and pure light. I know this is the independent/republic season. My thing is, you know, happy Barbados Day, happy Barbados season. And yes, I had only red and green lights earlier, but I swapped them out because I figure if I put up red lights tonight, man, I could just see the headlines tomorrow morning, you know. But we're gonna avoid that. We're gonna just play with it. Before we get right into the sister, I want to ask a question though, because I heard some news. I'm not sure if they actually finalized it as yet, but I was told, I haven't been following it too closely, but I've been told that they found some remains somewhere in St. Joseph, I think it was. But, you know, family, we're living in changing times. You know, we got to recognize that everything is changing, not just locally, regionally, internationally, but the world as a whole is changing. And I think in this time, we got to start really looking at how we can bring about change for the better. For all of us, not just some of us, but for all of us, because as a nation, as a small nation, we got to make sure we take care of home first. So let that be the objective going forward, man. Just take care of home, man. You know what I'm saying? Sexy D, greetings to you and the family. Welcome to Politically Incorrect. Make sure you go tell a friend and tell a friend. It's that kind of night. Spring Eyes to you too. Ja love to you too. Strictly Springer's Electronics if you want your stuff fixed. Mr. Electronics, if you got a number, you can also put it out there, man. We about supporting the people and the people's business. So if it's a possibility, you want to get your little plug, you got electronic needs, whatever, you know, shout out Springer's Electronics. Make sure you get it hooked up. Empress, we see you. We see you tonight, Uni family. Greetings. Shout out to the whole Fade family, the whole Fade community. You already know Barbados National Congress. Yes, King Alfred, all the way. Yeah, well, how old is it? How cold is it right now? Where is it? What part of Canada you from, man? No, so you're in Brooklyn. I think you're in Brooklyn. Tell me the temperature right now, man. It's Tim I'm thinking about. Tim might be frozen tonight because it's been getting colder and colder for some strange reason, even here in Barbados. So I didn't even know, man. But let me know. Let me know. Greetings and salutations to you too as well. Shalom to you, my brother. Barbados. Let us know where you coming from. Let you know you connecting from. That'd be nice. Daffodil, how cold is Canada? That's all I gotta ask you, man. Look, Barbados all over the world, you know. Tell a friend, family. It's that kind of night, man. What's the temperature like, Daffodil, out your side? Let us know. Miss Walker, greetings to you. Look who's here with us. Greetings to you. You found me. Greetings to you and the family as well. Shout out to all the Vincentions, all my Vincentian people. Y'all already know what time it is. Love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. Daffodil said it's cold. She said it's cold. King Alfred said it's 34 degrees. Yo, what's that? That's Fahrenheit. What's that in Celsius? Let me know what's that. Convert that really quick, somebody. Let me know. Shout out to Godspeed, man. Yes. Jah's son in the building. Jediah in the building. I was going to say that when I hear that name, I think of, family. Y'all know who you are. It said Florida. Okay. Florida in the building. Okay. Well, shout out to Florida. All the folks in Florida. It said Florida. I like it, though. I like -3. Daffodil, stop playing, man. Stop playing. It's not no -3 degrees. It cannot be no -3. What are you, an Eskimo right now? Is it that cold in Canada? Gee, yo, Tim, where Tim? Somebody calling Tim, man. This can't be real. It can't be real. What's the temp? Celeste, what's the temperature like in Florida, man? What's Florida temperature like? Because if it's -3 in Canada, man, it's that kind of time though. Things on here getting a little bit nippy. But anyhow, family, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to tune in and share this moment. I see Auntie Faye, how are you? I ain't see you in a little while though. Shout out to you and the family for the holiday. The Clark's family as well. Y'all already know. But we're gonna jump right into it because we want to keep the night concise as possible, man. Plus, we want to let the young lady get some rest and recharge. She's one of those hardworking lawyers, We want to actually do work, and a few do work, but a few we gonna talk that another night. But go tell a friend and tell a friend. It's gonna be that kind of personal night, and I do plan to get a little personal. And yes, I got some questions that hopefully not uncomfortable. But we're going to keep it official, right, family? So having said that, give me 7 seconds? And we're going to be right with you. Yes, again, family, welcome and welcome. Join us tonight is none other than Tyra Trotman. Good night, Tyra, and welcome again to Politically Incorrect, where we get it correct. If we're not correct, feel free to correct us.
Good night, good night. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, that's not a problem, man. It's really an honor to be sharing this space with you as somebody who's young in the political arena. I know that politics by itself is no easy road, and to be young and walking it, it's a learning curve.
And to be a woman.
On top of that, I won't be dangerous and go no further. I'm going to leave it. And to be a woman, because it ain't easy being a woman, period. But we live in a country where we still got some things that we ain't get past yet as a people. We still hold on to certain things. But welcome, nevertheless, to Politically Incorrect. What have you been up to, first of all? Let me answer that question. What have you personally been up to,
What have I been up to? Well, I've been working. Mm-hmm. I've been working. I'm looking forward to the holidays. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to take a little break and recharge. But I know that my break is not really going to be a break. It will be a break from my legal career because I'm closing my office for the holidays. But there's so many other things that I'm going to have to be doing. So in reality, it's just movement. It's always movement.
Well, I can imagine. I can imagine. I think that one of the things that we gotta recognize, especially on this time, and I'm not into the, like I was when I was younger, the Christmas season, but I will admit I kind of like it because
Of course.
it's when you find that family come together more, people start to think about each other a bit more. And whether it's a cultural thing or a local thing, I'm not sure. But people tend to, take on a different vibe. And so for the sake of coming together, for that reason, I kind of like certain days because I recognize it has a value if we can take from it. We may not always be into the same thing, but we can still recognize the good in it. And I like the fact that families tend to come together more around those times. Are you more family oriented as an individual? You
I
connect with
am.
families?
I
Oh yeah.
love family. I love Christmas. If you can't tell, my Christmas nails.
Oh, stop playing. Let me see that. Hold up again. Hold that up again, man. You got to be kidding
I
me.
am ready for the season. I love Christmas. It's for that very same reason. The coming together,
Right.
Of family members, people flying from abroad,
That's right.
Sitting down at one table together, eating together, drinking together, you're discussing memories. It's really about bringing people together. And I find the atmosphere and the whole energy of it all, there's an energy shift around Christmas. You can just feel it. If you're like an energy person, you can feel it just walking the streets. It's just different. And I love Christmas for it. The lights, don't talk about it. Oh, I love Christmas lights.
Not like me. I find that Bridgetown look a lot brighter lately. I know there always lights in town, Independence, Christmas. Somehow it seemed brighter to me now. I don't know why. It does seem a bit brighter, as if there's a degree of hope lingering in the air. It's in Florida, 64, 78. I don't know, boy. Low pressure 52. Yeah, you work for the weather station, man. You give me the whole biometrics. I like it. But I like it though. I like it. I think that Barbados right now is going through a rebirth. I think you're seeing a lot of things now that happening that kind of wasn't happening before. And although there's some negative things that are going on and are taking place, there's a lot of good things also, but they get kind of shadowed by all the other stuff. So we going to see, we could touch on some stuff tonight and find out exactly who is this Tyra Trotman. Of course, there's the lawyer, there's the political aspect, or the woman who is in politics, not necessarily the politician. And we also have the individual. I think because of profession sometimes, and I know, and accolades, and then you got the political aspect and what comes with that in terms of affiliation. People tend to forget that this is an individual. You're dealing with this is an individual. And although some politicians may have gone off on a track and lost their way and whatnot, this is somebody who's young, who's trying to find a way. How have you been able to cope as an individual? Forgetting the Lord, when you get home at night, you take off the gown, you take off the jacket, take off the party. Tell us, who is Tyra Trotman?
Well, Tyra Trotman has always been an individual who's been passionate about certain things. And for me, it started at a very young age. I was always an advocate, even before I knew what the meaning of that was. I was always someone who could not see wrong being done and say nothing about it. Always gave my mouth a lot of liberty. It would get me into trouble a lot with teachers, parents, but I just always believed in speaking my truth. And I was never afraid or shy to get out there and say what I had to say what was on my mind. I mean, I may not always be right, but who is? But at the end of the day, I don't believe in this wizzy mentality where like you present yourself to be one way, but then behind closed doors, you're another thing. What you see is what you get with me. I'm unapologetically myself. I will always be true to who I am. You may agree with it, you may not. But at the end of the day, this is my life, and I'm going to do it my way, as the song says.
I like that, my way. I want you to answer age. You're over 30 or you're under 30?
I'm under 30 by a slithering. A slithering.
Okay. I asked because I remember when I was at that stage as well, and I look back now when I was under 30, then under 20, under 30, under 40, even under 50. And I think to myself, I can remember how gradually my maturity and thoughts changed. So although I was young at one point doing certain things, in retrospect now I think to myself, man, what was I thinking? You know, that kind of thing. And so the reason I brought that up, because I see your passion, I hear your passion, but I also know that there's still roads ahead of you, which means there's growth ahead of you.
For
And as
sure.
you continue to develop as a young individual, young lady, and a young attorney, and a woman who's in politics, there are going to be changes, you know,
For
in your
sure.
career as a woman, as an individual, whether professional, lawyer, or politics. Can you see ways that you yourself can grow as well? I mean, do you
Of
see areas
course.
that you can
I think
strengthen?
life
Tell us about that.
life is all about growth. At the end of the day, if you're not growing as a person, what's the point of living? The whole point about life is going through experiences, learning from them, growing as an individual, and then sharing your wisdom to those who are coming up, whether it is young people or persons who are young in the fields that you are in, right? So I am always open to growth. And that's why I say I'm not perfect. Everything I do may not be correct, but
Mhm.
it is my truth. And that's the thing about it. I will always be true to who I am. In terms of being more mature, I'm almost 30, and the 30-year-old me versus
Mhm.
the 20-year-old me
Mhm.
are not the same in terms of execution, but in terms of principles and the core, who I
Mhm.
am as a person at the core will
Mhm.
never change. How
Mhm.
I do things might change as I mature. So I've
Mhm.
realized already that there's certain things that I no longer react to that I would have reacted to when I was younger. Or there's certain things that I handle differently now, more maturely, more professionally, more eloquently, because I'm getting older and I'm learning how to control my emotions. So I'm not
Mhm.
only becoming mature, but I'm becoming emotionally mature. And I think as human beings, that's like the greatest thing to master, our emotions. Once we can
Wonderful.
master our emotions, we
Mhm.
become master of life, basically.
I like what you said, that latter part. Once you can master our emotions, that's an interesting thing, because I think a lot of people, again, these are not things that are taught socially. These are things that we kind of develop and grow into, those who are seeking to be better. Because, I mean, there are folks who clearly can care less about emotions. Whatever they feel, how they feel is what it is at that moment. And we know there's a danger in doing so. So maturity is one aspect of it, and there's a reason why I'm asking you that. I'm slowly going to segue into your political career, but I
I
don't
see
want to
where
dive.
you're going.
I don't want to dive right into it, because for me, I mean, again, right? It's an opportunity to have dialogue. Now, I spoke with some all week, because I did some videos early in the week that I found in my research, and some folks would have shared with me, and it showed an individual in a certain aspect. You know, he who should not be mentioned. Could say can't mention his name no more, but
Lord
nevertheless.
Voldemort.
Yeah, well, so, yeah, I sorry, pardon me. Something like that. So, but I was sharing the information to say to people, hey, look, listen, you know, this is the same individual. If we're going to be honest as a people with each other, well, let's be honest. Now, not everything is going to be comfortable, but at least let it be honest, if nothing else. And we can always look at it
Exactly.
objectively if we are interested in growing,
Mm-hmm.
because some people don't want to face the truth for whatever reason. But if you're interested in growing, it might be uncomfortable, it might be bitter, but it's necessary. And
Mm-hmm.
so I asked about the age of maturity for a reason, because I remember, and I hate to just kind of catapult you into this depth of the pool, because you're young, you got involved in politics, you joined up with the DLP at the time, and then you became president of the Young Democrats. I remember, in fact, I remember meeting you and Kimar at a social event. I encourage y'all to have a dialogue and have a conversation as two young Democrats. I think y'all should find a way to work together. Tell us about your relationship as a young Democrat, as a young politician, and as a leader of the Young Democratic Labour Party at that time. We're gonna have to change that later on.
Right. So how I got into politics in the first place. So like I said, I was always an advocate, right? I was never really interested in politics. I'll be very upfront and frank with you. Was
Mhm.
never really interested in politics much. To me, all politicians just seem the same. And so, it was nothing really that pulled me. But what I
Mhm.
was always was an advocate. Like I said, I was
Okay.
always someone to speak out on things that mattered, not only to me, but persons around me, things,
Mhm.
injustices, things that I saw that were wrong, that I thought someone should speak out against it, but I found no one was coming forward. So I
Mhm.
did that. And it was at a rally. I think it was about the IDB survey. That was like kind of the first time that I spoke out on a platform so big, right? And then I was, I guess you could say, scouted, right? I was approached, I was told, you would do good in this particular arena, in this particular area. And I thought about it. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to focus on my legal career right now. That in itself is very taxing, very demanding, very time consuming. I don't know if I have space for something else. But it just so happened, you see, and this is why I say alignment is everything. When the universe calls you to do something, you cannot get away from it.
That's right.
Hard to get away from it, right? So along the same line, I knew Ronnie. I knew Ronnie from school, from UB. He was one of my lecturers. And I then realized that he was the president of the Democratic Labour Party. So due to the fact that people constantly were pushing me, telling me, you should get into this, you should get in, it kind of planted a seed in my mind. So I asked Ronnie, I said, well, Ronnie, how do you get involved? I didn't even know how you sign up, how you become a member, how do you get involved? I didn't know any of it. So he said, well, he took me through the process, the stage, and I did it. And he endorsed me. He proposed me, that's the word. He proposed my membership. And that in of itself has a whole set of consequences attached to it, right? The mere fact that he was my proposer to the party. So basically, he's the one who introduced me, brought me into the party, kind of cast a certain light on me, right? So I've always told Ronnie's story, but I've never really told Tyra Trotman's story. I was very silent on this up until now, just because I'm someone who deals with things. I don't really look back and regret, or to me, forward is it. When you're trying to go forward, there's no point looking back. They say you crash your car if you're driving forward and still looking in the rearview mirror. So that's me. I'm always thinking, what's next? What's the next step? What's ahead? Never really look back. But let's take a moment to reflect, right?
Okay.
Join the party. I wasn't really supposed to be in the forefront. I was more so supposed to be someone to work with Ronnie, work around Ronnie, work and help Ronnie build his, I don't want to say campaign, but, his presence in the party. And then, Ronnie heard me speak. He knew me from before. And he was like, Tyra, what do you think about elective politics? I was like, what do you mean? He was like, what do you think about being a candidate? Potentially, are you interested in something like that? And I was like, I don't know. So I asked a couple of persons. They said, well, Tyra, you're very young in your legal career. Sometimes when you go down the political realm, the street of things, it can really mess up what you already have going on. So be very careful, especially as an attorney. People know politics can get very dirty. There are people out there who love to slander your name, love to put things on you have nothing to do. You like to mix you up in a whole
tell me about it.
Wash. That really has nothing
to
do with you, right? It can get really dirty because the whole point of politics, it seems these days, is to defame the person, make person not credible, and attack their character. That's what it seems. So knowing that, it was like, should I risk it? Because I am an attorney at law, and at the end of the day, being an attorney, your character, your credibility is everything. Your reputation, your name is everything, right? So it was something I had to decide upon. Through thorough reflection, I said, you know what? You've never been afraid of anything in your life. Why start now? Let's do it, And I was like, you know what, Ronnie? Let's do it. So he allowed me, and I will always be grateful and thankful to him for this. He gave me the platform to really build me in politics. Like, he gave me the start, the exposure. It is through him that majority of Barbadians really know who Tyra Trotman is in terms of on the political scene. Let's be real. So I will always give him props and respect for that. And that is why I was so loyal to Ronnie Yearwood, right? And then Steve Blackett was also a supporter of mine, who pushed me, who supported me along the way. And that is why Ronnie and Steve would always have my support.
Nice.
Let's be real, right? That's me. I'm not loyal to a party. I'm loyal to persons. I don't deal with party name. I deal with persons, right? That's me. All right. So started to speak on the political scene. Started with one meeting. I think it was Sundays that we were doing. And then we did the front house. And then we did, it was me and Felicia Dujon.
When you say front house, what do you mean exactly?
it was a program that Ronnie and others formulated. It was like a sit-down program where we went through different legislation which was being debated in Parliament, and we picked it apart, and we criticized it, but then also came up with like solutions and ways and how to make it better, right? So a different house, and it was the People's House. It was renamed, rebranded, everything like that. Cool. After that, I think it was every Sunday that we were having something similar to the Parish Speaks, but it was like zonal meetings. So we would be in different zones, tackling different national issues. So we were really being an opposition voice, because remember, the DLP had no seats in Parliament. So there was no opposition. And we understood that in order for democracy to be alive, you need an opposition. You need an opposition voice. So what we were doing really was roadside politics. We were being an opposition from outside of Parliament, which in of itself is not easy to do, because how do you get the attention of the public when you have no seats in Parliament? So it's like, to the public, it's like, why should we listen to you? You were not elected, right? Really and truly, you have no say. So why should we listen to you? So we had to work really hard to build ourselves and present ourselves in a way that the public would want to hear from us. And that took a while, because I remember when we first started doing it, reading the comments, it was like all negative. Like nobody wanted to hear from the Democratic Labour Party. No one at all.
When you say it was all negative, you mean like people would come on and log on and nobody had nothing good to say?
No, it was not. I wouldn't say nobody, but let's say 90% of the comment section was like, we didn't want to hear from y'all. They always reference the 10 glorious years, right? They always reference that. They always reference things that the LP did wrong. So it was, they were not open to receiving the message that we were ready and willing to deliver, even though the messengers had nothing to do with what happened during the 10 glorious years.
The 10 glorious years.
New people. And that was Ronnie's vision. At the end of the day, the DLP got washed off twice, 30 Love, right? Those persons, the public did not want those persons. So how do you restore a party? How do you save a party from its demise? You would have to refurbish it, revamp it, renew it, bring new blood, new energy, new faces, new voices, new ideas, new talent. That was the vision. It wasn't about casting out the old guard or not wanting to collaborate with them. That was never the goal. It was to present a new product, basically, to the market.
People of Barbados.
Exactly. Right.
If I'm going to make the assumption here, because again, most people don't have no faith in political parties, whether B or D. I just put it on the table up front.
There are those set of people too that are disgusted and fed up with both sides of things.
Indeed.
But unfortunately, and this is to answer, because I realized a lot of people, when I made the switch, a lot of people were like, why not just start your own party? To answer that, it is not as easy or as simple as just getting up one day and say, you know what, new party, we're going to call it this. We're going to have these colors and we're going to go there and get votes. It doesn't work like that. The base of both D and BLP is 30,000 voters, people, right? That is the base. That's what you are competing with. Those are 30,000 people that will vote B or D, regardless as to what will happen. The hardcore party loyal people. That's
you got to get more than that. Not that it's impossible, but it's an uphill climb.
Right. And then history has shown that the BLP and the DLP are the only two parties that Barbados really recognizes and respects. There's so many third parties out there, UPP, PPP, this PP, all kind of PP. And have they ever gotten a seat?
Well,
no.
You know what? I believe, I'm not, I shouldn't say believe, I'm one of those individuals who strongly subscribe to the idea that you cannot be the idea whose time has come, and nothing can stop it if it is its time. Because, and I see how Barbados has changed myself over those same years. And I would have commend anybody who's courageous enough to say, look, I want to speak on behalf of the voiceless. I want to represent the people on a serious level. Because I myself know that, the system is not The system isn't broken, you know. We always think the system is broken, but it is by design. It is set specifically the way it is. So when you want to come in and bring change, you know, you have to have a degree of courage to go against the tide, especially the traditional norm and the status quo, especially you told bringing in a quote unquote a new party. As far as changing an old guard, I always feel, and I think I told this to somebody else at some point in time, you cannot change what is set. What you can do is see how much a difference you can make with the capacity of, I don't want to say power or authority, but whatever you're given to make that change with. It might also have its consequences if you don't kind of toe the line a certain way. But the reality is, like you said, when you're called to do something and you're passionate about doing that which you know you are being called to do, again, you find the courage to even speak truth to power. How have you been able to do so in your capacity? Well, in the capacity you once held. And I got to say once, because we're going to get into that, you know, before too late. From going from the leader of the Young Democrats, trying to build a young community to where you are now, you know, how did that occur?
So, all right. So back to where we started. So I became member, and then there's a youth arm of the party, which was dead. Let's be real. It was dead for 2 years. Nobody knew about the Young Democrats or what was going on with the Young Democrats for a period of at least 2 years. They were not doing anything. There was no movement. There was no action. There was nothing. Let's be very real, right? So it was suggested to me that I run as president, or the position of president. I put myself out there. There's something I didn't really want to do because managing personalities is not really something that I like to do, right?
Yeah.
It's not something I like to do because I'm a
I
no-nonsense
see one of your YouTube, your IG videos. I realize that.
no-nonsense person. Like, I do not have time for nonsense, and my tolerance for ignorance is very, very small. So for me, asking me to do that is like, gosh, okay, all right, fine. I understood why, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it because the party, the Democratic Party, is an aging party. Now I can talk about the difference between two because I've experienced both now to a certain extent.
Okay.
The BLP has more young people in the party, active young people, than the Democratic Labour Party. And I can see why now, you know. I can see why now.
Okay.
The Democratic Labour Party has over, I think it's 40 or 45 and over, is the majority of their membership.
Okay.
Hardly any young people. The group that I was managing had a membership of 200 and something people. The Young Democrats. And out of those 200 and something people, about 50 of them are in a group chat. And out of those 50, about 10 are actually active. They're actually interested in what's going on. And then out of those 10, about 2 actually do something, right? So I had a team of literally about 2 people. Let's be real, right?
I follow what you're saying. It wasn't what you would have expected.
No, it was
The
not.
momentum, I should say.
There you go. So and motivating people to do something when they're not being paid, when there's no monetary gain. That's the next thing, because in reality, you're volunteering. Everything that I did as a Young Democrat, everything that I did as a member of the Democratic Labour Party, everything I continue to do on the political scene is on pay. Let's be very real, because I heard some people talking about, oh, she get bag, no, she switch, she get bag, she get money, everybody got price. Let's be very real. Politics does not pay me. It does not pay. It has never paid me. It doesn't pay me now. I have no seat. I don't get no money. I don't get no salary. None of that. Furthermore, I spend money in politics. I spend money when it comes to my appearance, when it comes to giving back to the community, when it comes to doing all the events that I do. All those things require money. And I don't get paid. So understand it. So this foolishness about, oh, she get bag and she switch. Let's cut that out. Let's cut it out. Furthermore, I take away from what pays me, which is my legal career, right? Because I'm spending time doing this rather than working on files that are actually paying me. So I'm sacrificing that. Let's be very real, right? Good. Now that I've gotten that on my system. So I ran as president. I sent out the notice according to the Constitution. There's a certain period you're supposed to send out the notice. I believe it's 30 days, right? We sent out 30-day notice. We let everybody know there's an AGM coming. And we're going to vote for who's going to be president. All nominees, everybody who's interested, put up yourself. It was myself that I really put forward. I had a video and everything that went viral because somebody took that video and spliced it with another video. And like I said, politics gets dirty sometimes. People try to assassinate your character. That's the reality of it. So there was that. On the day, after 30 days passed, on the day of the AGM, before that, during this process, I recruited new members because I understood that there was a group of persons who were attached to the old guard that were not in favor of me because of Ronnie. So all the hate that Ronnie was getting automatically shifted to me because I was proposed by Ronnie and because I was introduced into the party by Ronnie. So I was already warned there will be a group of persons who are going to come, who are going to want to, basically vote against you just because they don't want you to get the position because of your affiliation with Ronnie. So being the smart person that I am, I recruited a whole bunch of new members. That was the only way to beat that. Recruit persons who would vote for me, right? Because they believed in me and my vision, and have them come to the AGM. So we did that. We went through the process. They were ratified and everything. It went to General Council. It went to Executive Council. It went through the entire process in accordance with the Constitution. And we signed them up. It's just that they did not know that that was happening because they weren't active in the party. A lot of them took a step back because Ronnie was the leader. And the same thing happened to me when I got the position as president and then later changed to chairperson of the Young Democrats. A lot of them stepped back and said, well, we don't like she, so we are doing nothing. But for me, failure is not an option. So it just meant that I had to work 10,000 times harder, which is fine. I did it, right? I did it. It was done. So there was the AGM. The first AGM, because there were three, the first AGM, this is what people don't know. The first AGM, when the group, I will not name them, of persons who were not in favor of me came and they opened the door. They were not expecting to see a room full of persons who they did not know because they were new members and persons who were in favor of me. So had a vote been casted that day, I would have won. For the position, I would have won. I would have been victorious, right? Mm-hmm. So because we know that, what do? We disrupt the meeting. So the meeting was disrupted by bad behavior. They won't call what we did bad behavior.
Oh, wait. Hold on a second. So you're saying that this is interesting. You're saying that what happened at George Street already had happened at a previous meeting when you were being okay. So
but it was not publicized.
Okay, so it wasn't publicized.
I don't believe in that. It was not publicized. I didn't call the media. I didn't take out my phone and started video recording and all that because I don't believe in that nonsense, right? It's a private meeting, and what happens here is supposed to stay here. But you know who made it public? There was a certain young lady who was very upset who released a voice note, and that voice note went viral. That same young lady went in. It was Undine Whitaker, who was the sheriff of that meeting. She was sitting at the high table. She was supposed to chair the meeting because the ex-president, I will not name him, was supposed to hand over then the meeting after he cleared his items on the agenda. He was then supposed to hand over the meeting to the sheriff, who was then supposed to say, well, the floor is now open for persons to, because it is a voting done from the floor.
Right.
So it's then open for persons to say, we nominate so-and-so, who seconds, someone seconds, and then you vote on it. And the majority, the person who has the majority votes then gets the position. That is how it was done, right? We didn't even get to that part because the ex-president refused to hand over the meeting to the sheriff. And then when the sheriff said, well, you've already completed...
Why would the ex-president refuse to hand it over? What was
something to ask him. But I suspect it was because the majority of the persons in the room would have voted for me. So they did not want the vote to occur. They didn't want the vote to occur.
I see what you're saying.
But I don't want to speculate. So that's a question for him. Maybe you can have one of these sessions with him. right? And the other group of persons, his entourage, and find out what it is, why it is that they did what they did. But from my perspective, it would have to be that. That's the only thing that makes sense, right? They disrupted the meeting. The young lady went up in, as we Bajans would say, she went up in Undine's face. She cussed Undine, all kind of thing.
Man.
Wanted to fight with the woman that old enough to be her grandmother, right? But you don't hear about these things. Never heard about it until today because I was not someone. I didn't care about all of that. As I say, I go forward. I look forward. So the meeting came to its premature conclusion because it was disrupted. Right. All right.
So then there was nobody voted as president. Then there was nobody voted.
There was no vote that day because it was disrupted. So it was still up in the air. But no, they knew that I had people. They knew I had people. So what you do now? Oh Lord, well, we cannot call another meeting because if we call another meeting and we invite everybody, these same people are gonna show up. And she still has the majority, so she's still going to win. So what do? We hold an AGM in secret, in private. This is the second AGM. Mind you now, this second AGM, the notice is supposed to be 30 days to everyone. I got notice of this AGM a few hours, less than 24 hours before the AGM was called. So it was like, this group of people, they were planning and plotting their nice little comeback. And then to satisfy what they thought was satisfying the rules, they threw the notice and said, oh, and by the way, we're having an AGM tomorrow. What? We gave you the luxury of 30 days notice, even though we knew that y'all were going to come with some foolishness. We still gave you respect. And we respected the Constitution, and we still give you 30 days notice. And you turn around and give us less than 24 hours notice. So I told my people, we are not even going to that AGM. Because if I show up there and y'all show up there, we are validating that AGM. We are not about to do that because it's unconstitutional, and we are not going to show up. It makes no sense.
I see what you're saying. That's not according to how it's supposed to be done.
No.
Got you.
So we didn't show up. So because we didn't show up, obviously the 8 or 10 people that were at that meeting all voted in favor of who they wanted to be president, which was not me.
Right, got you.
So then a notice came out and said this person was president. Congratulations. All kind of hip hip hoorays. All kind of champagne emojis and everything was being sent in the chat. And I knew there was another chat. There was another chat that I was not included in. Me and my people, we were not included in that other chat. But nevertheless, we said, you know what?
Politics.
We're gonna do things. We're gonna do things by the books. We're gonna leave them, let them have their little 5 minutes of what they thought was victory. We're gonna allow it, right? But what happened is it then went to General Council. And there was a motion then passed at General Council, which said or verified that AGM was unconstitutional. So that was the first motion. And then there was another motion then to change, because previous to that meeting, that General Council meeting, the Young Democrats were a separate arm from the Democratic Labour Party. So it was two constitutions. It was like a sister party, I guess you want to say. It wasn't under the Democratic Labour Party. It was
separate.
Yes.
Okay. But so you said the Young Democrats are actually completely separate as an entity.
That's how it was before. Because we had our own constitution, everything. You had to pay an extra fee to sign up. For the Young Democrat, it was like a separate body.
I would think that it was something that was subsidiary. I would think that it would come under.
That's what it became after the motion. So then a motion was passed at General Council, and that's why it changed then from president to chairperson. Because what happened then at that General Council meeting is the majority of persons in General Council voted that the Young Democrats should now become a branch, just like the other branches of the Democratic Labour Party, rather than an arm.
Right.
And that's when the position then changed from president to chairperson. And due to that whole thing, technicality, we were then able to say that the votes which which happened at that second AGM, and the position that that person held was null and void, and it needs to go back to an AGM.
Okay. And was I guess were they okay with that? I mean, don't sound like
they're not going to be okay with that. Of course not. But I think at that point they realized what they were doing was foolishness, because the third AGM then gave them the same 30-day notice. We put it out there for everyone to attend. So anyone who had an objection could have attended. They were well notified. Everything was in accordance with the rules. That's the thing. We always played by the rules. And when I say we, I mean Ronnie's side of things, because there was a faction. I am not hiding it anymore. There was a faction, right? Ronnie's side of things, we always played by the rules. The other side of things,
so, but this is interesting.
Bullies.
But this is the thing, because, and I don't want to sound like I'm in favor of, but this is all before Mr. Thorne even came on board.
This was all before, and that's why I've always said.
I think that's an interesting point, because a lot of people think that Mr. Thorne came and disrupted the party. He got a lot of blame for that.
There was drama in the party before Ralph Thorne even crossed. He just made it worse. He made it worse.
Okay, we go get to that in a minute.
But there was always problems in the Democratic Liberal Party, from my experience.
So they had this election, this election.
Third AGM.
And
this third AGM is when I became chairperson of the Young Democrats. So it ain't just say, oh, she just come and snatch up the thing.
Got you covered. Because I heard you stole it. I heard you stole it.
AGMs. I had to battle. I went through 3 AGMs.
Okay. I could work with it. Because that, what you're saying, I understand that process. I think one of the things in Barbados at this point is people have I don't know if they know or they don't know, but a lot of preconceived ideas as to the direction that the quote unquote Ronnie aspect of things was going in, versus what you're saying was the other side, which in reality, again, not that I thought was all love in the party. I don't even pay attention to it. But understand now that there's some undercurrents going on, been going on for a while. So here we are now. You're involved in all of this. You're young, you're coming in ambitious as an advocate.
You understand? I'm like,
what is all this about, right? Like, where is all this going?
Madness, complete chaos. Because
I first met you at the Marcia Weeks presentation, and it was about the children in the park. And I noticed how you came prepared. You outlined the law. You dropped the facts. It was like, yo, who is this? So that was where you was always pushing that advocate voice. And here you are now involved in politics, and all of a sudden you realize it ain't so easy, huh?
I'm not.
Okay, talk about a learning curve. Okay, so let's fast forward now. So you're in this. You're doing work in the community. You've done work on a personal level, personal expenses, and then one morning you woke up, and Mr. Thorne has crossed the floor. That news, how did you first receive that news as a young Democrat? Was it exciting, hopeful? What was it like?
I always knew it was going to happen, right? From the time.
Wait, hold on. How do you mean you knew it was going to happen?
From the time he announced that he was leaving the Barbados Liberal Party, there was like a 2 or 3 day period where it was like, oh, is he going to join?
If he's going to really do it,
he's going to start his new party. Is it like so? I always knew the only logical decision would be to join the Democratic Liberal Party. The same way how the only logical decision from me was to join the Barbados Liberal Party. Because like I said, Barbados only respects 2 political parties in Barbados. So it's either you're a B or you are a D if you are serious about politics.
Right.
I always knew that he was going to cross the floor, but there was a big old meeting and they were all talking about, what is he going to join? Is he not going to join? Is he going to come? What is he going to come with? But I always knew.
You knew he was going to come over.
Surprising to me. And then the fact that he chose 2 Democratic Labour Party senators before he joined the party, to me was a big hint that I'm going to join the party.
Well, I think that, but I recently found out one of the 2 individuals he chose, it wasn't someone he had held in high regards. At least perhaps he had changed his mind, then changed it back. I don't know when it comes to Tricia
I
Watson.
don't know. I'm not in his mind. That's something you would have to ask
Right.
Mr. Thorne.
Perhaps it's
But
based on her skills, because she does have the ability to get that particular set of work done. So no one can refute that. Regardless if you like her or don't like her, she is good at what she does, what she was allowed to do for that time. But
very,
okay, so Mr. Thorne came over, and as
I
a
was
young Democrat,
excited. I was excited. And
how
I'll
you
tell
felt?
you why. I was excited because this meant now that we had a seat in Parliament.
Right.
It meant now that all this roadside politics that we were doing could finally materialize now into something more serious. We actually had a say-so now in Parliament. We had a real voice, a real opposition voice, not just on the streets, like I said, but in the House of Parliament now, we had a voice. So I was very hopeful. I was very excited. I did not understand why one of the senators were not the president of the Democratic Labour Party. Because to me, that's what you should have done. You should have chosen the president because he was elected by the majority of the general membership of the party, which means that the majority of the party that you are now coming to clearly have some sort of belief in this man. So why not mobilize him, empower him by giving him the pick as to be a senator? I didn't understand that decision, but that was above my pay grade, so I minded my business and I kept it moving, right?
I bet you understand it now, though.
Yeah.
What don't happen in a year happens in a day.
Exactly. So I was excited. I think majority of us, there were some of us who were not, but the majority of us were hopeful what this could mean for the party.
Right.
What could this mean for the party? Right. And then some people were hopeful that there would be the what's the grant called now? The money that you just get when you're in opposition. Oh God, what do they call it now?
Yeah, there's something out of Parliament that they're allowed to get some sort of
and that obviously didn't happen because the Constitution is very clear as to how that happens. And
wait a minute. You get that automatically as an opposition.
Yeah, but you have to win the seat as an opposition. You can't cross
the floor. Hold on.
And get it.
So he didn't get the money either?
No.
He would have known that. He seems pretty aware of how Parliament works. I don't think Mr. Thorne is.
But I guess maybe I don't know if that was something to catch a bait to catch a fish. I really don't know. The subvention, exactly. That's what it's called, the subvention. So there was big talks about the subvention. Oh, are we gonna get a subvention? No, because let's be real again. The Democratic Labour Party was in dire need of money. We were struggling financially.
I don't understand how that even is possible, because I was on the okay, I get it, because you have to have an actual seat in order to tap into that quote unquote subvention. If you don't have a seat, you ain't getting jack.
I think it's also mismanagement.
Okay, wait a minute. That's a whole different direction now.
Mismanagement.
That's a different direction.
How do you come from being in government for 10 years?
10 years.
So literally, the building is falling apart. The weeds are growing on the walls. You cannot put on lights. You cannot put on water. It has to be mismanagement. But I wasn't there, so I will not speak on it.
It looks like they abandoned the post. That's what it sounds like. Like something that way. But let me just dive a little deeper in. So you're in now. Thorne is in. You're now the chairman. You said yes.
Right.
And now, so Ronnie and Mr. Thorne are not seeing eye to eye. You're witnessing all of this. What are your thoughts, especially that you said, because I'm hearing that your loyalty is more to Ronnie because of what he had done for you in terms of bringing you in and whatnot. But in the essence of truth and things, truth is truth, regardless of who you favor over the other. Right is right, and wrong is wrong.
Right.
How do you navigate between the two? Listen to Mr. Thorne make what he considers to be valid points, and then you listen to, as a lawyer, listening to Ronnie as well, make valid points and claims. How do you navigate between the two of those?
It was very difficult, and I'll tell you why. All logic, it seems like all logic just went through the door. Everyone was operating on ego, on pride, on hurt feelings. There were a whole bunch of disgruntled people who used Ralph Thorne as a weapon. So in their armory, they weaponized him against Ronnie because they were disgruntled, either because he didn't listen to some of their ideas or their suggestions, or he didn't include them in certain decisions or in certain activities. So it was like we have a bunch of people, supposed to be grown, mature people who are operating on hurt feelings. And that's why I started this program by saying, when we master our emotions, we become master of life. Hurt feelings, pride, ego took over. And for the life of me, I could not understand, because there was one point in time where I was like a rope being pulled from each end in the middle, because I'm the leader of the youth arm, and it's almost as if I'm being asked to pick a side. And I'm like, what do you mean? We're supposed to be one party. You have the president, you have the political leader. They're two separate roles. The president deals with the administration of the party. The political deals with everything parliamentary, policy-wise. That's his arena, his area, his landscape. That's what he's supposed to do. To me, there were two very distinct roles. So for the life of me, I could not understand why the two could not work together. I didn't understand it. And then on top of that, I did not understand why I was being asked to choose a side. I am in your party. I am supposed to be one of you. Why do I have to pick a side? And then, like I said, my loyalty now kicked in, because, as I said, I will always respect and be grateful to Ronnie Yearwood and Stephen Blackett, because they gave me my start in the political scene.
But if they were wrong, they were wrong though. If they were right.
Yeah, but telling somebody that you're wrong, they're wrong, and then completely disrespecting them is two different things.
Okay, I got you. I
never had an issue telling anybody that they're wrong. When I see wrong, I tell you wrong. I don't care who you are. I will tell you you're wrong.
Fair enough.
But to ask me to completely disrespect them and abandon them and ignore them and act like they're nothing and don't exist, I can't do that.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. I remember having a conversation with another individual. I won't mention her name at a different point in time, and I know. Look, man, I totally get it. Like I was, because I actually stopped. In fact, the night that Mr. Thorne spoke in Christchurch, I don't remember the school. I decided to stop by to see myself. Hear him myself, because he says he's representing the people. Well, I want to hear, I want to see who this individual is, because me, I love the people, I'm for the people, but I don't deal with politics, I deal with people. So naturally, well, let me see who this guy is, see how, feel his energy, see me sincere. And he spoke that night, but I noticed that Mr. Hayward didn't show up at that meeting, which I don't know why he didn't show up. That just didn't make any sense to me. But he didn't show up for whatever reason he had. I'm sure he may have had his own reasons. But as I listened, I observed certain things. I realized a few things. And one thing I realized at the time was, okay, you know what? Listening to what is being said and how it is being said, I realized that this is going to be a problem. Because, even if Ronnie wasn't looking for it, and I don't think he was prepared for it the way it happened, I guess that's something he has to look into in his own time. As a leader, especially in the political arena, you're supposed to know at all times that if you don't govern things in a particular way, there's always going to be somebody coming for that spot.
Exactly.
Full stop. Because not everybody's going to agree with decisions you make. Because you might make decisions that others might, but I don't know if I like. They might not even like you just because they don't even like you. They might not even have a reason. But if you didn't, and that's just in a regular family, on a street, a corner, a block. Politics, man. So I can understand where you're coming from in terms of not wanting to be divided. What was the deciding factor for you in terms of where you stand? Because I saw you again at the George Street, the auditorium headquarters. I saw a video of you on the Saturday morning. The Sunday morning, yeah. In fact, what happened Sunday morning was a result
of Saturday.
Yeah. How did you make a decision, and what led you to make that decision, and where we are today in terms of Tyra Trotman?
So once again, like I said, I am always going to speak out against things that are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And just like in the youth arm, the bigger arm, those people do not respect the constitution of the party. They continue to act as bullies. You saw on my last, I'm not going to revisit that. I brought the receipts. I showed you the videos, the pictures. They broke into the office, picking the locks. You know, they told a bunch of lies. They tried all these disciplinary hearings that were based on meritless claims, all these things, right? So I don't have to go over that again. If you didn't watch that video, guys, go and watch that video. You understand that aspect of it.
So before you go on, I have one thing about that, because someone had edited it, well, kind of took a part of that video, edited it, and circulated. Came back to me when they spoke about, the question that was asked, was the motion acknowledged, I guess, by the then president chair or the individual? And I asked a question because I saw the video circulating, and it was supposed to be a joke thing, which I thought was funny because there's something weird about somebody making fun of a question. But anyhow, the question I have about that was simple. Even if you are wrong, Tyra, and you're a lawyer, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I ain't no lawyer, even if you were wrong on the day in question, when you presented the motion that you brought forward at the time, and others are saying, well, she was wrong, it never was authorized, wasn't passed, or whatever the procedure is supposed to be. I don't know, I don't have the Constitution, I don't have a clue. Even if you were wrong, Tyra, I have one question. If there are all these elders that are there, these men who are 45 plus, who are veterans in the party, who probably know the Constitution verbatim to some degree, I'm sure they do, recognizing that you, a young one, was in error, would it not be their duty to correct you?
Well, there you would think they would have a moral duty if
moral
correction
duty
is what they want out of it. If you see, you only correct someone when you care for them,
or if you're actually wrong. So that was just my question, because it's okay to say that you were wrong, you did it incorrectly, you know what you're doing, you're a bad lawyer, you don't have a clue, you don't know nothing with the LP card. Okay, fine, she doesn't know, but she's a member. But then why not say, excuse me, nobody said, excuse me, young lady. Yes, we recognize you're trying to do section 1, 2-A, B, C, D, Z, whatever. But that's not the way you do it. In fact, we got to do it this way and that way. And then we could do that, then you can proceed. At any point in time is what, and that moment, just my one question about that day, that's the only thing. Did anyone hint or made an attempt to suggest that you were wrong and this is the way to go?
No, of course not, because I wasn't
wrong. These are the leaders, right?
I wasn't wrong. No, they weren't the leaders. They usurped the leadership roles. That's the difference. They were not the leaders. They had no right sitting at that table in the first place, because they tried to do the same thing with Ronnie that they tried to do with me. The only difference is they couldn't do it with me because I don't play that game. See? That's the difference. I don't play that game, but I was not president of the Democratic Party, and so I could not fight his battle. I tried as much as I could to help him with it, but I couldn't fight that battle. But what they did was wrong. They had no right sitting at that table in the first place. And if I was wrong, why it is that in a room full of persons, all of them, except for one person, older than I am, gave me majority vote. Because my motion was passed. Let's not get mistaken. My motion was passed by a majority vote.
So the chairman did not have, but he didn't acknowledge it, but it was obvious that this was what was required. Well, we won't even touch that. But let me ask you a question. How did all this make you feel? And right after that, what was your decisions? What thoughts you had in terms of leading you to make a decision to affiliate yourself with the Barbados Labour Party?
For me,
to put on a red dress, to put it bluntly.
I am always someone who looks forward. I never look back. After that whole ordeal, I went to Miami and I had the time of my life. I shopped till I dropped. I took a vacation away from the legal practice, away from all the drama. And you know what? it was a breath of fresh air when I handed in my resignation letter. I felt a burden lift from off of my shoulders because it's not something that I had to do. It's not a battle that I had to fight. You know what I mean? It's something that I put myself in. It really wasn't giving me, I wasn't gaining anything from it. I really was not. So when I let go of that, it was like, okay, I have more time now to focus on myself. I have more time now to focus on my practice and move forward. But you see the beauty, and I told you from the beginning, when you have a calling, when you are called to do something, when God has mandated that this is something that you're supposed to do and fulfill, it will find you again. And that's what happened. It found me again. It found me again. I joined the karaoke competition because I love to sing. For those of you that don't know, I was.
Did you know that it was? Did you know it had an affiliation with her, Miss Motley, at all? Did you know that, or you wasn't aware of that?
Who had an affiliation?
The karaoke competition, or that's just a random competition you joined?
No, I knew it was a BLP competition, but I actually joined that competition last year. This wasn't the first time that I was joining. A lot of people
wait. Make that go back to back. You mean tell me you were in that last year as well?
I joined the BLP competition last year as well. But what happened is I signed up from the wrong, because they do it in zones, I guess, districts, zones or whatever. So you have to be from the area to qualify to go into the next round. So they do like preliminary rounds. And you only qualify if the competition itself that you're singing at is your area, like your constituency. So last year, I sang from the St. Michael area. I'm not from St. Michael.
I got you then. And
that happened by mistake. I did not even know that was a BLP competition then. I didn't know it last year. I was just singing, right? And then I found out afterwards because they told me, oh my God, you sounded so good, but we cannot let you go on to the next round because you're not from St. Michael. And I was like, what are you talking about? But this year, I did it again, and I sang from my area. So I was then able to qualify and go on to the next round. So then I went on to the semifinals.
Okay.
The semifinals was in Oystins, right? I sang, and I made it to the finals.
Did you say to wear red just on purpose? Like,
I'll tell you how that happened. Like I said, I speak my truth.
Let me hear this.
I don't really care who agrees and who does not agree because it's my truth. And the truth will set you free. I was actually supposed to wear a white dress. I was going to wear a white dress. But let me tell you what happened. And I guess maybe this is my immaturity now a little bit. Maybe I was a little petty, right? Because after I sang at the semifinals in Oystins, I got screenshots of certain individuals who are supposed to be elders and mature and leaders, and they're supposed to be of noble professions, talking all kind of thing about me in the group chat, the rank and file group chat, right?
Okay.
All kind of thing.
That would miss me.
She sound bad. Look at she look. She did. She died. She do all kind of thing, right?
Oh man.
I was like, why are y'all bothering me? I have left you alone. I resigned. I'm not even fighting with y'all anymore. I resigned. I walked away from the party. I walked away from it. Why are y'all still in my affairs? Why do you care whether I sang at a semifinals or not? So you know what? To be petty, right? I know this one gonna burn them. I go put on a red dress. And I went and I bought a red dress. I ain't ashamed. I said, this is going to burn the belly. And I put on a red dress. And I sang at the finals.
I heard more talking about that as well.
Sang beautifully. Y'all saw that clip? I should have sang
I saw that clip. Yeah, if I play that clip here, I was a bit surprised. But you know what? I mean, somebody wrote here, Mr. Gad wrote, and I thought this is interesting. It said, leaders of today are people that are traumatized from young. And listen to your political experience as a young lady, especially as someone who is actually young as well, who could admit that, she has room to grow. And I like that because in reality, people tend to hold you to the standard where they are thinking. And in truthful, they might not be where they're supposed to be to somebody else who's further up than them. So it's a process. But nevertheless, Do you think that's the reality, that the experience you've had thus far as a young politician, to use the word loosely, has left some scars with you?
I wouldn't say scars at all.
How about bitterness? How about
No,
bitterness?
never. Because
Okay.
for me, everything in this is how I live my life. Everybody's different, but this is how I live my life. I truly and honestly believe that if I'm not supposed to experience something, I'm not going to experience it. I
Mm, mm,
honestly and truly believe that everything that is for me will always find me. And every experience that I'm supposed to go through, I will go through, and it will grow me as a person. It will
mm,
shape me and it will mold me as a person. Whether the experience is negative or positive, it is something that I had to go through because it's supposed to take me to this
mm.
next place,
Oh,
whatever
I
that
follow you.
next place is. It's
I follow
supposed
you.
to leave something with me, whether it is wisdom, whether it is
Mm,
maturity, whether it is, I don't know, experience, whatever it is supposed to be with me for where I am going. So I had to go through that. There's no question or doubt about it. I had to go through it. It made me stronger. It made me more sure and confident about who I am because I was able to stand in my truth.
mm,
Even when everyone was talking and saying, oh, you're a backbiter, backstabber, a flip flop, you ain't loyal, you're this and this and this. I was able to stand in my truth and stand firm and confident in my position and say, this is the decision that I have made. And that is just it. Yeah, you like it or you lump it. And
the-
funny enough, the
mm.
majority, the feedback, the majority has been positive. There's so many people who love that I am now a part of the Barbados Labour Party, which is
I'm
funny
sure. I'm
because
sure.
because I
I'm
was
sure
so
there's a lot of people
critical
who love
of
that
some of
you're
their
part of the
policies,
party.
right? But they love because you know what I've realized the difference is? There's a difference. The difference is
I mean, between the BLP and the DLP, from an
from
internal
my
perspective,
experience so
from
far,
your
because I
experience.
haven't been a member of, I was a member for the Democratic Labour Party for about 2 years. Not long, I must admit,
Okay.
not very long, right? I don't know
Okay.
about the Arrow Barrel days. I don't know about the Frondo Stewart days. I don't know about those days because I was not a member of the party then. Like I
Right.
said, I only really became interested in politics recently, but I was always an advocate. My experience now with the Barbados Party, I've only been there for a few months, right? So I don't know everything, but from my experience, I must say that the Barbados Party was more welcoming and
Mm.
more open and more willing. I have more mentors now, persons who pick up the phone and call me and who I can call and ask for advice,
Mm.
persons to guide me, persons
Mm.
who are not threatened by my presence, but embrace it and understand that
Mm.
change is inevitable and
I agree.
also succession is mandatory. Because if
Mm.
you do not have successors, whatever it is you're holding dies.
Facts.
It
And the
dies.
irony, facts. The irony is that when Mr. Thorne crossed the floor, he was embraced. He had more mentors that he could call, I'm sure. The story is so, I mean, we could literally mirror this to his experience because I'm sure when he was in the BLP, he wasn't feeling appreciated the way, he's being appreciated now, I'm sure. And although he speaks about not being able to take it anymore, I was trying to figure out in my own guesstimation at what point, because a lot of the things that had happened throughout the time thus far speak volumes of a number of things that the people in Barbados have been lamenting about. So I'm just trying to figure out, okay, so at what point did you decide that enough was enough? This was after you was paid how much for how long? Because I'm sure he's still getting, he's a minister, I'm sure he gets his salary and the years have gone by. I'm sure it's up in the millions by now. The point I want to make is, Barb, why you are still saying all of this, and it's fine, the reality is him crossing the floor was accepted because he left. You crossing the floor is rejected because you joined. And the
I
irony
don't
is,
know. I don't know if I see it that way. I think the only, and I'm glad you highlighted that because I did not cross a floor.
there you go.
I did not, I was not in parliament, right? I did not have a seat.
You
I was a
switched,
member
you
and then I
switched
resigned
membership.
and then I applied
You
and
was a
I
free
was
agent. In other words, you was a free
accepted.
agent at the time when you joined.
I did not. piggyback on the votes of anybody to get into parliament on this particular party, and they decided to switch cross and go to the next party. I didn't do that.
That
right?
was a bit shady, but that's your age talking. Go ahead, man.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
Man.
Right? So when people say, oh, she crossed the floor, how? I was not in parliament.
You resigned. You actually resigned from the party completely.
It's just like how, should I say this or should I not say it? It's just like how there's certain persons, right, who would wear a red shirt when they got free functions and they could go and eat free food, right? But really and truly, they're members of the Democratic Party, but don't talk about them though. It's them same people who giving me the hardest critiques and criticisms. But at least I was bold-faced about it. I came out and I said I resigned. This is the reasons why I'm resigning. And I came out and I said I have now joined the Barbados. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do that. I didn't owe anybody an explanation because nobody, I was not in elective politics. Nobody voted for me. I didn't get a seat based on anybody's votes. I owed no one an explanation. No one. But I did it because I'm a woman of principle. When I do something, I do it wholeheartedly, bold-facedly, and with my chest. I don't hide and do nothing. Like I said, what you see is what you get. So I allow the public to know. Because I actually have genuine supporters. I have people out there who genuinely wish me well, right? So I felt like morally, I owed those persons an explanation. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going.
That sounds fair. That sounds fair. Someone is saying, Mr. Carson is saying, your political career is over. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, the amount of times that people told me that I would never amount to anything in life, I would be a failure, I would never... If I had listened to those people, I would not be where I am today.
Fair enough.
I say this, it is up to God and God alone who determines my destiny. No man can stop what God has for me.
Facts.
Understand it? So if it is ordained and if it is my destiny and my fate to be that person, you can't stop me from being that person. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. Life goes on.
I like it. I like it. I like it. And, you know, for me, it was interesting because I had asked you at first when you're going to share your story because, you know, everybody has something to say when someone does something that they don't want. Not that they have the final say, you know. You know, when Mr. Thorne crossed, it was a whole big jump up in the street, whole bitch of celebration, and that was fine. But that's that particular crew. You decided you were going to resign from one, take time for yourself, which you said you did all kind of stuff, came back, thought about it, decided to, you know what, I'm still interested in providing and doing work for the people. I'm going to become a part of the Barbados Party. And I have my reservations on both sides of the fence, quite frankly, point blank. In fact, the time I did have a conversation with Ms. Motley, and I told her straight, trust is something that you earn. I just don't give that out like that. That's just me personally. I respect the fact that you do what you do, but I don't know if I agree with everything you do. The truth is, I don't think everybody agree with everything I do. I get all kind of comments, my inbox, they call me all kind of names, say all kind of stuff. Propaganda is like... You
can never get 100% support in anything in life. You can never get...
Like you said,
everybody. You can't.
I go with it accordingly. And my thing is, though, there are people who still subscribe to the political system in Barbados. Whether I don't like it or not, I'll be affected by it one way or the other. So I pay attention. But my thing is the people who are not looking at it from a perspective that I'm looking at it from, I like to think that they're at least willing to listen and recognize if you're going to vote for this body or that body, at least ask them the critical questions, the crucial questions. Don't just take it at face value. Somebody promise you something. But when they get, they're going to give you a job, make sure you get a house for you. You know, you see one toilet because you don't, any pit toilet, whatever. Don't just accept the promise. Look at it from the standpoint that, you know, they're people too. And you can question them and ask questions. If you got a question, go. Just don't buy into the free food, the free concerts. Don't get led away by just words, but look at the actions. You're a young lady that pretty much is authentic. That may sound strange, but the truth is, when you're vexed, you get on like you're vexed. You don't hide it. You don't mask it. You're young.
I'm very passionate. I am a very passionate person. I wear my emotions
on. It's misinterpreted. Because I think somebody said earlier, you thought you always want to fight. But I also, that's passion.
If we're talking about things that upsetting me, what you want me to do? Talk about it and laugh and smile?
Well, again, like I said, because that's authentic. Because people looking at you and say, you know what? I could see that she's a bit immature because she's still young. And that's not a bad thing.
It's
That's
not.
actually a good thing.
It's a part of life.
But again, we all went through a stage. Some reached it sooner, some reached it later for different reasons. The point I want to make is what you see is what you're getting. And so, yes, I acknowledge that I am young, but I still have a passion to do right by people who I see wrongs are being done too. All right. So even if I get something wrong, I trust that I have people around me that have my best interest. Say, well, look, Tyra, look, come here real quick. Hey, you don't do it like that. You don't do this. You know, just did the right way, that's the wrong way. And they set the record straight rather than coming out and telling the whole world, man, Tyra ain't this or Tyra ain't that. I mean, it's going to come and say Tyra's career is over. And what is this one now? And I guess no one is going to vote for you. I mean, that's all right to say that, Carson. But how about giving her some good advice on how she can achieve the objectives? How about doing that instead? It's so easy to tear down. In fact, it is almost effortless, but it speaks more volumes about you than the person you speaking about or speaking to. How about giving her some inspiration and some ideas on how she can accomplish that? You know, that's just my 2 cents, man. I have a question for you that might be a bit controversial, though. Miss Motley, by now I'm sure you would have had a one-on-one conversation with her. I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm guessing because she know where you came from. She know the background. Y'all had a little one-on-one conversation, and if so, the fly on the wall. What was that like? Like, what was that like?
You know, the Prime Minister is very encouraging.
Did she make fun of Mr. Thorne?
But everybody making fun of Mr. Thorne. I think that's not anything that nobody isn't doing, right? But the conversation, I would say, was very encouraging. Right. And it really meant a lot because I was one of those people out there who were really critical of what the Barbados Party is doing wrong, right? Because opposition. So we didn't really highlight what they were doing right. We highlighted what they were doing wrong. But because the Prime Minister understands politics, she understands that that's what you do when you're over on the other side, when you're in opposition. So she didn't take it personally. And that speaks to her maturity as a leader, because she could have easily said, well, you talk about all these things we do wrong and you know want to join the Barbados Party, like, you really feel, and not accept my application. But it was not like that. Because she understands politics and she's mature in that sense. So there was no negativity. There was no hard feelings. There was no bad anything. In fact, when I went to the conference, you know, she acknowledged me. She acknowledged my presence publicly. When she said we have new passengers on board, right? She acknowledged my presence publicly. And I have to say that speaks a lot for her. So I can't say anything negative in terms of our interactions thus far. I haven't had a negative interaction.
Well, let me answer this question. When the others started to force the division between acknowledge the division between the DLP, did you feel as if folks were not recognizing you at that stage in your experience with the DLP versus how you're being recognized in the DLP?
When you say folks, you mean the public or you mean persons
within the organization, the DLP?
No, my presence was always acknowledged. In fact, that's why they had to lock me out. Because my presence is that. You had to lock me out. Because you understood that.
You're the reason why they locked the gate then. Most likely.
I've always had a very strong presence.
You're the youngest, but I met a lot of ladies who were in their 60s, 70s, and a few in the 80s. I know there wasn't in there making a noise and shaking the gates. It was you, wasn't it?
I wasn't shaking no gates. Listen, I didn't even touch the gate because the guard was right there, and I did not want a lawsuit for no assault. So I wasn't touching no gate, shaking no gate for them to say that I hit them with a gate. Nothing like that, right? For me, I just understood what was happening, and it was either two things. It was either I was going to continue to fight that, or I was going to walk away from it. And I had to weigh pros and cons. If I continue to fight that, how does that help what I'm trying to achieve? Because I'll be spending all of this energy fighting that, when really I should be fighting for the people of Barbados. I am fighting persons in my party rather than fighting for things for the people of Barbados. So I had to weigh.
You think you're in a better place now to do so?
I think I am. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been there a very long time, but from my experience thus far,
right,
I think the environment is more healthy. It's more conducive to what I'm trying to do. And it's allowing me to breathe and give me the space that I need in order to do what I have to do. Because the persons that I'm dealing with are more logical thinking. They're less emotional. They're more open. They're more understanding. They're more mature. So, for example, when I'm doing things in the constituency of St. Michael's Central, I'm not getting a backlash from the sitting MP, Arthur Holder, because a conversation was had. I approached Mr. Holder and I said, I understand that it's different now, because once upon a time I was on the other side and I was looking, to battle you. But now I'm on your side of things. So it has to be different. Different rules apply. Like I said, I'm a woman of principle. Different rules apply now. So I approached Mr. Holder and I said, Mr. Holder, I started doing work in St. Michael Central. I would love the opportunity to continue to do that work because I've already formed a lot of relationships, a lot of connections with people in that particular constituency. And I can't just walk away from them now because I've joined the Barbados Party. I can't do that. I wouldn't feel right within my soul and my spirit. There are things that we discussed, we meaning me and some of the persons in the constituency, some plans we had, things we wanted to do going forward that I can't just walk away now from because I've joined the other side. I spoke to him about it and he said, no problem. No problem. Do you have to continue doing what you have to do? No problem. I have no problem.
How was that like with your people? I mean, knowing you coming there knocking wearing a blue shirt, you come in knocking wearing a red shirt. How has that been for you and them? And how's that experience?
Well, let me tell you, I've always approached persons when I was out canvassing. I don't canvass anymore now, obviously, because like I said, there's a sitting MP. But when I was canvassing for the area, I would never approach them like vote DLP and not BLP because this and that. I always told them, I do not believe in party politics. I believe in voting for people based on the person, the individual, and not the party that they represent. Because at the end of the day, you are dealing with the person. That person will be your representative, not the party, that person. So you have to believe in that person. I always led with that. Always. So it isn't shocking for people now to see me again on the other side, because I always led with that. I'm not, you can agree with me or disagree with me, but I was never one of those people who are like, those people that can't see outside of their party. Like everything the other side does is wrong or bad or whatever, because they're on the other side. I was never like that.
Right.
I was never like that. I could always see the positive and the negative. It's just that we were advised to highlight the negative because we were in opposition.
Well, you know what? That word opposition, I was even playing with it and I told someone, oppose for a reason, yes, but just don't oppose for the sake of opposing. And in your opposing, at least bring a solution or alternate solution as something viable, rather than simply saying, no, I disagree. I think we have enough to disagree with right now. And I am telling you, I don't know if it's me personally speaking, but I could see that Barbados over the next few weeks, months, everybody's saying election getting called early, this can happen, that can happen, this is, the buzz you're hearing on the ground. And I've said to people all the time, I am a political analyst, but when you're in the crease and the bowler keep bowling these sweet balls and you keep licking these balls out the park, there's no reason to change your strategy. And the way things are going right now with what I'm observing with the BLP is progress, but not progress in the sense of how I feel that people should be advancing. I hearing promises, I hearing projections, I'm seeing, and that might attract some. For me, on the ground, it's like you on the front line in the army, and you know the headquarters telling you we about to send rations and supplies. You on the front line, you realize that the ration and supply is getting real thin. The only question you have is how long will it take to get here? Because you got to calculate, man, this, do we have sufficient to hold out? If not, how we going to ration what we have to maintain until? So the one thing you want to know is it on its way? Yes. Okay, well, how long? So when the country is advancing and these different things that she speaks on, she's doing, and there's some things you can see, some things you're not sure about. The question is, how do you then bring a message to the people who are so frustrated because they're on the front line and they're not seeing the, for lack of a better word, trickle down the way it should be? What's your word to people recognizing and thinking, well, Tyra, I like you, but I don't know you. I don't know. What can you say to people in Barbados at this point? Or what do you say to people in Barbados at this point? Not give them false hope on them promise.
I don't believe
something that's realistic and concrete.
Promises, they say, is the word to a fool. I don't believe in promises. What I will tell you, and which is what I said when I joined the Barbados Labour Party, just because I joined the Barbados Labour Party doesn't mean that everything now is all hunky-dory and everything's perfect and everything they're doing is right and correct and there's not an alternative way to do things. I think what they're lacking is a bridge between persons who are actually like in the streets, normal citizens, and then the upper echelons of society. I think that's where the miscommunication or the division is happening. And I think that I could be that bridge because I've been there. I'm headed somewhere else. So I think I'm a nice little bridge to merge the two sides of Barbados together and be that communication for the people. Because I know what it's like to struggle. I've not had it easy. I know what it is like to struggle, right? I know what it is like. So for me, when I advocate and I bring forward certain issues, that is where it is coming from. Because like I said, a lot of the time people don't know or people don't care about things that don't personally affect them or affect their immediate surroundings.
Facts.
You can only speak on something if you know about it, if you've experienced it. And there's certain experiences that I have or have had that is different, I would say, from those persons who are in power. So I can be a listening ear and then a mouthpiece for those issues. And I think I can be the bridge. And that's what I'm hoping to do. Be the bridge, not only between the lower class and the higher class in society, but the younger folks and the older folks in society. I always like to say I'm a nice hybrid of things. My background in of itself is very hybrid. I come from a white mother and a black father. I'm mixed. I've always been a hybrid of things. So people that know me and know that this BLP thing is not very shocking or different because I've always been a nice mixture of things. That wasn't that unique.
You continue to mix now.
It's like how I was a singer, right? An internationally signed artist, and then a lawyer. It's like, how do those two things even go together? That's just me. I'm unique. I can't explain it.
I did see that.
You can't box me in. And I think that's where a lot of people misunderstand me because you cannot box me in. You cannot put me in a particular category. I'm a nice mixture. Let's call it cobbler pot. A nice mixture of things.
I like the cobbler pot though. A little spicy too, huh?
Yeah.
Clearly. I don't want to prolong it too long. I know you wanted to try to slip out early. What time? Wow, I see we actually having fun here. Funny how time flies. Yeah. Well, if you had to say something about let's say the last year, this is December, in retrospect, you sit down home, you know, the Christmas tree, you're drinking your eggnog, whatever the family's at, and you're sitting there and everybody's sharing, and you had to share something with your family, which is Barbados at this point. You have been visible for a while, some ups, some downs, some lefts, some rights, some B's, some D's, or some D's and now some B's. But what would you say about this year? You know, what would you say about this year for you, and what are your projections for 2025?
I would say this year has really matured me. It has shown me how strong I am. Like I always knew I was strong, but I didn't know I was this strong.
Facts.
And I would
Facts.
say, you know, just be you. Be true to who you are. Your tribe will find you. Those persons that appreciate your authenticity will appreciate it. And those persons that don't like real and don't like realness will not. And that's okay, because like I said, you will never get 100% support in anything you do. But always be true to who you are, because that's why you were put on this earth, to be you. You were not supposed to be anybody else. I ain't supposed to be Mia. I am not supposed to be Ronnie. I ain't supposed to be Steve. I'm supposed to be Tyra. That's who I'm supposed to be. Right? And it's either you like it or you don't. But either way, I'm still going to be me at the end of the day, and unapologetically so. Unapologetically so. And I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. You know, y'all, there's some people now that have me to be this role model and all these different things, right? I will try my best to be a good influence on young people. But there are things in my life that I've made mistakes. I'm young. I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm not a saint. Never claimed to be one. Never tried to be one. The only thing is Jesus Christ, right? He is the one that's supposed to be that, right? But even Jesus Christ walked with murderers and the sick and these people. So at the end of the day, I am me, unapologetically so. I am young. I will make mistakes. That's just a part of life. I ain't trying to be perfect. I will never be perfect. No human is perfect. So that's what it is. So keep watching. And for 2025,
right,
how I know my life is set up, I feel like it's only up from here. Like I can feel it. I can feel the elevation. And that doesn't have to be politics. That could be in my personal life, in my legal career. I just know that there's going to be an elevation. And those people here that have me to fail, y'all are going to need some extra eggnog, because I am not going anywhere. I'm here to stay. So you're going to watch, and you're either going to support me and love me and encourage me and cheer me on, or you're going to be sick to your stomach, because either way, I don't know failure. I succeed. That is what I do. I succeed because I'm a hard worker. And I believe that when I set a goal, I have to work and do whatever I must do to achieve that goal. That's me. So stay tuned. Because I'm a hard worker, and I believe that when I
got you. I see the mic. I see the mic. Yeah. I was saying to you that I'll repeat that. It was too important not to repeat it. Thanks, Tyrone. My thing is that when you said that you strong, you know you're strong, but you don't know how strong until you're in that position. I like the fact that you felt that you could navigate and balance, because Barbados isn't easy,
By the grace of God.
Barbados is not
By
easy.
the grace of God.
And truth is, sometimes that's really all it is: the ability know that you have a creator that you see opening and paving your way forward. Because even if somebody next to you and they try to see down your lane, they can't really see it, because the peripheral can only capture but so much. Hence, it's the peripheral. But you got to keep your eyes on the prize and keep moving direction you're called to move in. And that's the thing I want to really bring home. And like you said, 2025, you have ideas. And the last part I was saying is that politics is such a thing that, you're young, people see young people getting involved in politics. That's good. People like that. But people also know that, if you don't hold your integrity and stay firm and do what you said you're going to do, if you don't change it, it will invariably change you. And so we want to commend you for your strengths and those who encourage you here to keep going forward. My thing is, yeah, it's an uphill, but here's the best part: it ain't for everyone.
No, it's not.
So if you've been called to make that trek to the top, for whatever reason, then I remember the fact that you're called to do a work. The question is, what are you going to do? Because like I said, I've seen you advocating, I've seen you out there, I see you doing things. And it's so funny how sometimes the people who start with you doing things somehow don't always end up going with you.
Right.
And so, you got to maintain what's true, and do what you're called to do. So I personally want to thank you for coming on, having the courage. Not too many people got the courage to come on Politically Incorrect. Them is taught. In fact, I ain't got the number on the screen tonight, but it's beyond the screen. And in fact, I'm gonna put it up there now anyhow. Not that you could call now though, because we getting roll out. But my point is, this taught. They don't come. They don't come. They don't call. They said they're gonna come and they said they're gonna call, but they don't always do it. And so my thing is, I commend you for having the courage to be a bit different, be a bit controversial, at the risk of offending others. If they're offended, then maybe there's something. My grandmother always tell me, when you pelt a rock at a pack of dogs, the one that yelp is the one that got hit. So I just let her slide out. Rose was just a wise woman, so I run with her. I don't come on here trying to insult a boy. Be just asking questions. In fact, whatever I say on this platform, if I meet any individual, they'll tell you I answer them the same thing. It don't mean anything different. I don't come on here and say something and then I meet people and I skinning and tap dancing. Although a lot of people seem to think so, but it's only here where you hear from people you hear it from. But you know how it is. But thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Well, as always, I'm sure the Politically Incorrect family appreciate your presence. I was trying to capture some of the comments as best I can. Lost audio. Tim, now I ain't lost it. I end up pushing the mute on the mic. I was actually here queuing up a song, so I was listening to it just to make sure I got the right song. I didn't have a song. I think this is the perfect one, actually. But I think it's a good one. I hope it's a good one. Yeah, I hope it's a good one. So I just play with it like that. But anyhow, Tyra, man, listen, continue to do your work as best you can. Continue to have faith in your mission in life and fulfill what God has placed in your heart. A lot of people think that somehow God is selective, like God choose people that you wouldn't choose. So because you wouldn't choose someone, you tell yourself that, well, God ain't gonna choose you either. I don't know how we get to that state of mind, but if you are inspired to do what's called, move forward, man. I mean, just move forward, and more strength to you in your endeavors. Yeah.
That's it.
Wonderful, wonderful. I got a tune that I don't know, man. I don't know, man. So I just go pull this one up and see what happened and see what the folks say about this. I don't know if this is. I think this is the right one. I hope this is the right one. I hope this is the official one. I don't think it is, but I'm looking for it. I don't know, but I'm gonna try to think. I was actually trying to find that particular tune that I heard Miss Motley playing. and it's by Lil Rick. It's a Lil Rick tune. It's a Lil Rick tune. I don't think I ever played a Lil Rick on here, you know. So I feel it's only fitting because I see Lil Rick be doing a few tunes for different parties. Lil Rick ain't got, he loved the people, he loved the music. Lil Rick, and let me see, this is the tune here, man. Let me check it and see. And a lot of people got some questions to answer you, but I don't know how that's gonna work. So I'm just gonna play this. Give me a second. Let me just share my screen and make sure this is the joint. Hopefully this is the joint. I know this is the joint. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I don't know if this is. But I can try and see this. I can see. I can try and see, man. I can be wrong though. Yeah.
I don't give up. Don't give up.
I had to put this in.
Just open off the mouth and sit down for me, business. I don't give up. Don't give up. Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me. The more them talk, the more them chat, the more job bless me. Take your dirty mind off of me.
I know all about it, Tyra. Trust me.
Dirty mind off of me. Cause the more them talk and the more them chat, job bless me. Bad mind can't stress me. Them don't impress me. Them a run off them mouth and talk like the informer of the century. Pure hate and envy and pretend to be friendly. Them will smile in your face and stab you in the back, so dangerous and deadly.
Easily so, yeah.
And stupid. I don't know why they do it, but them nose up in my business, on my name like freaking snitches. Them feisty and nosy and always telling stories.
2025, man.
You don't really know me, so just know me.
2025, man.
Them just a lava and pale for me. I don't give up. Don't give up. Them just open off the mouth and sit down for me business. I don't give up. Don't give up. Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me. The more them talk, the more them chat, the more jobless.
More politics, man.
Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me.
The youth.
The more them talk and the more them chat.
We need new leadership, man.
Shut your mouth and stop talk. You all have emotion. Always got something to say because you're malicious to blood. Them all that the heathen will hate on you for no reason. Them around them out just to float and come off like a big time freak. Them bad mind and stupid. I don't know why they do it, but them nose up in my business.
You don't have a clue, man.
Them like freaking snitch.
Perhaps is all politics.
And nosy and always telling stories.
Perhaps is all politics.
Them don't really know me, so just love me.
Time will tell, fam.
Just a lava and pale for me. I don't give up. Don't give up.
The fullest of time.
Just open off the mouth and sit down for me business. I don't give up.
The fullest of time, man. In the fullest of time, man. I take your mind off for me. I don't know, man. I know that a lot of people are going to be happy. A lot of people are going to be sad. The reality is, why is it that in 2024, people seem to think all of a sudden that you are not allowed to express yourself? Like they can express themselves how they feel towards you, but you can't express yours. Here's the best part. Here's the absolute best part. And we could actually disagree. Like, since when did disagreeing become an issue? We can't disagree. So in other words, if we don't agree, suddenly I am an enemy. Really? That's where we're going. If I disagree with you, suddenly I'm an enemy. So make it make sense, man. Make it make sense, man. Somebody said, I like this one here. There are some people in this chat, in their feelings. People grow up. Yo, Mr. King, I give thanks, man. I see a lot of folks got some things to say. I mean, again, let them. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. I'm okay with you disagreeing. There's not a problem. Let them have their say. Everyone should be allowed to have a say. The thing is to respect what people say. You know, I don't know if I agree with you, but I respect what you said. Ain't no feeling. You know, this 2024 going into 2025, we ain't got no time for that. The whole world, all kind of stuff going on globally. Barbados don't even have enough food. We don't even know if we're going to have enough food for the holiday. We think so. Anything could happen. The hurricane came and flattened 2 islands, not one, Union and Calico, devastated. Anything could happen. We got to focus on what's important, man. Life is for living and loving. Let me focus on that. Even if Tyra is dead wrong, give her some positive advice. We ain't got nothing at all good to say ever. I mean, never, ever. Tyra, give thanks here. And again, like I said, you got to maintain, because it's you already had experiences from one set, from the young Democrats, the president, to whoever else, and I'm piecing it together. The point is, it's like we get it. Reality is, if you're going to do what you say you're about to do, you're going to need to stay prayed up. Let me tell you this right. You're going to need to stay prayed up, anointed, and you're going to have to drink your integrity water every morning and every night, man. Straight up, because it's that kind of arena. And you already know firsthand, and witness it firsthand, witness it secondhand. Say the third time it's a charm. Well, I don't know Miss Motley personally. We've had a few interactions over the years. I don't know if I agree with everything, but there's some things I do think needs to be changed. I don't know if I would do it that way, but again, I'm sure everybody else may have their own opinion too. So the thing is to fix the issues that need fixing, address that. You know, the youth issues, the crime in Barbados, the unemployment in Barbados, the cost of living in Barbados. These are things that need addressing on a different level. And unless we discussing viable solutions, the reality is it's all politics. So if you're sincere, good luck not even luck, Godspeed to you. Put it that way. Make it happen as soon as possible.
Blessings. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I gonna tell you one last thing, man, if nothing else. Someone said that, you had the courage to come on, but I'll say this. I think if people realize that the youth is the future, we can make jokes of it now. But what if 5, 10, 15 years from now, then you find yourself in a position where you're the prime minister of this country? Wouldn't that be crazy, right? Yeah. Yeah, that people laugh at that now, right? People laugh at that now. Yeah. I play chess, man. I can see how pieces are being moved, and reality is, you look around Barbados, within the political arena, within BLP and DLP, in terms of, because people don't just want to pick someone. The people who are committed to it, they look for certain things in that leader. And in reality, you're young still. I ain't going front. And you got growing to do. I still got growing to do. But a lot of potential is there, man. Guard that, Tyra. Just guard it. You feel me? Hey, go mature. At your age, I was in prison. I ain't got nothing to say to you, man. See what I'm saying? You've done exceptionally well for a young lady. And I mean, again, we all make our mistakes. You guard your destiny with your life. All right? Yeah. All right, family. Give thanks again.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Wonderful. Let me so I can spin you out. I see. I got you. All right, so let me see if I can just do this real quick, Tyra. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'm trying to look for it. I am multitasking. All right. All right, this one. Okay, there you go. All right. Let me switch out. There you go. All right, family. I put Tyra backstage briefly. I know she got to go. First of all, I want to say thanks to those for staying on, staying in tune, and really, kind of Taking a different look at tonight's program, I think what was important is the message. I think that's what was it for me. That's what did it for me, personally speaking. Somebody young, looking to step forward. We gonna have the world to say. Like I said, she did the whole Democratic thing, the George Street, and folks was upset. I felt if she was so wrong. Where's Wreck-It Ralph tonight, man? I didn't see Wreck-It Ralph come back on. I know Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph. That was funny. Anyhow, I think that they should have corrected her if that was the case and guide her, like, sis, you're wrong. You don't do it like that. That's how we do it, point of order, and just move forward. You can't do what you feel like, so we going to correct it. It's all love, But anyhow, they say, oh, the Lord love you, chastise. Perhaps they didn't love her. Anyhow, I want to thank you folks for tuning in. Tell a friend and tell a friend. And Barbados. Sometimes I wonder, what, I look at the little ones and the offspring and the young people, and I think to myself, where is this really all going? Where is it going? And everybody sitting down, having a lot to say. What are you doing to make a difference? What are you doing on a daily basis to make a difference? Once you are doing something to make a difference in somebody's lives, especially somebody young, anybody for that matter, but especially somebody young, if everybody start to do that, we're going to be good. That's why I maintain. Let the administrators do the administrative work. Let's start to get into good governance. Let's start to govern ourselves in a way where we have a different relationship with politicians going forward. Let us not teach the young politicians the ways of the old politicians, because the ways of the old politicians, we're done with that, man. We're done with that. Anyhow, family, I was playing the tune there, man. I don't know. I can pull that tune there real quick, man.
I just checked. Yup. Bad mind, dirty bad mind, dirty bad mind. Them just a lava and ballet for me. I don't give up, don't give up. Them just run off the mouth and sit down for me business. I don't give up, don't give up. Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me. The more them talk, the more them chat, the more job bless me. Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me. Cause the more them talk and the more them chat, job bless me. Bad mind can't stress me. Them don't impress me. Them a run off them mouth and talk like the informer of the century. Pure hate and envy, and pretend to be friendly. Them will smile in your face and stab you in the back, so dangerous and deadly. Them bad mind and stupid, I don't know why they do it. Got them nose up in my business, on my name like freaking snitches. Them tasty and nosy, and always telling stories, but them don't really know me, so just love me. Them just a lava and ballet for me. I don't give up, don't give up. Them just run off the mouth and sit down for me business. I don't give up, don't give up. Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me. The more them talk, the more them chat, the more job bless me. Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me. Cause the more them talk and the more them chat, job bless me. Shut your mouth and stop talk. You all have emotion. Always got something to say because you're malicious to blood. Them all that the heathen will hate on you for no reason. Them around them out just to clout and come off like a big time freak them. Them bad mind and stupid, I don't know why they do it. Got them nose up in my business, on my name like freak talking snitches, them feisty and nosy, and always telling stories, but them don't really know me, so just love me. Them just a lava and pale for me name. I don't give up, don't give up. Them just a run off the mouth and sit down for me business. I don't give up, don't give up. Take your dirty mind off of me. Take your dirty mind off of me. The more them talk, the more them chat, the more job bless me.
Yes, family. Anyhow, family, y'all have a good night. I see my friend Jill there telling me I don't talk about me, only Thorne. I don't know why people seem to think so at all. I can't figure that one out. I don't know if y'all just skim through my programs or y'all actually listening to them, but that's on y'all. Nevertheless, family, it is a peaceful Friday night, reflective time of the year, family time, 2025 around the corner, according to the calendar that they give us to work with. Reflect, introspect, and let's plan a different plan moving forward as a people. Just have some family talks. Time for family talks, man. Time for family talks. Where is Barbados going? It's time to have some serious conversations with the family. You know, strategize. Like I always tell you, focus on food. Shout out to Bishai, by the way. Big shout out to Bishai. And shout out to the family in the Caribbean. Shout out to Barbados National Congress. Y'all already know. Shout out to the success this week as well. I won't speak on it just yet. But yeah. It's about alliances, man, in 2025. It's about alliances. Y'all see what's going on. Connect the dots, man. Connect the dots, man. So people over party. Just remember that. People over party. Make your loyalty to be put. Make your loyalty be to the people and not to the party. Straight. In your family. We out. He said, thank you for saying that about Ralph. He felt he was not. Wait, hold on a second. Thank you for saying that about Ralph. He felt he was not appreciated too. That was why he crossed the floor. Well, understanding human psychology is easy, you know. You spend enough time in class really watching people and studying people. You could understand people and why they do the things they do. I think for me, most people, in fact, I know for a fact, most people misunderstand politically incorrect. That's why it is called politically incorrect in the first place. If you get past politically incorrect and you got something to tell me, it means you missed the whole point. You missed the whole point. You missed the whole point, straight up. Because I'm politically incorrect. So how you gonna mix me into politics when I'm politically incorrect? I don't make no sense. Y'all just skimming through, man. But I love y'all nevertheless, man. 11-11, people over party. That's right. That's right. Anyhow, though, like I said, we ain't gonna stick up. We ain't gonna stick up. Next week, they got some other folks coming on. They said they ready to come on. We gonna see. Y'all already know how it go. We gonna see. Show it to the brave hearts, man. We gonna see. But we got some stuff to discuss of, epic proportion. Is urgent. We have an urgent national matter that needs discussing. We're gonna discuss it. So yeah, don't miss out next week. And we're going to try to get back on as early as possible. Yeah, for sure. Anyhow, y'all have a full joy of Friday night. Take time for yourself, rest, but do one thing, man. Family. Start having them family conversations we talk about. Really have a plan, family. Really have a plan. Anyhow, peoples, love. We up out of here. We get the outro, and we gonna connect as, I guess, early as Monday. God spare life. Have a peaceful weekend, a reflective one, and one that's based on family. Like I said, family, man. Give thanks, Pedro. I see you. Guidance to you too, and to everyone. Good night to you too, Gel Biz. We see you. Good night, good night, good night. But Glory, we see you. Sean, I see you. Mr. Gad. Peace. Rastafari. Shalom. Shabbat shalom, family. We out. I know you should play that tune.